The Madrigal family is made up of all kinds of magical gifts, each one playing a specific role within the village. But if you take a closer look, you'll notice that some powers are actually pretty limited, and sometimes cause more trouble than they're worth. Others look impressive on the surface, but don't really make much of a difference in day-to-day life. Among all of them, Julieta's gift stands out as the most essential. It goes beyond appearances and fulfills a basic, vital need in any community: health. Take Camillo, for example. His power seems awesome at first glance, but in reality it doesn't offer much. He can shapeshift into anyone, which makes for some funny moments and can even be a handy distraction in certain situations. But in a peaceful village with no real threats, it mostly amounts to impersonations and jokes. It doesn't contribute directly to the community's well-being or solve any concrete problems. Then there's Peppa, who has the ability to control the weather, a gift with massive potential. In theory, she could prevent droughts, regulate rain, and boost crop growth. But there's one big catch: the weather changes based on her mood, not her conscious decisions. If she's happy, the sun shines. If she gets upset, the clouds roll in and storms hit. That makes her power emotionally draining and unstable. Plus, having your emotions literally written in the sky is a lot to carry. The gift is strong, but seriously lacks control. Dolores has incredibly sensitive hearing. She hears everything: distant conversations, barely audible sounds, and that makes her a valuable source of information. She can warn people of danger, urgent needs, or upcoming conflicts. But this power comes at a cost. Dolores lives in constant sensory overload, speaks softly because she's always surrounded by noise, and never really gets a mental break. It's a useful ability, but an exhausting one. Bruno is one of the most memorable members of the Madrigal family. Thanks to his gift, he can see the future. It's a powerful skill, but one surrounded by fear and misunderstanding. He can predict events and warn people, but the community doesn't know how to handle it. When his visions are negative, he gets blamed for what he saw as if he caused it. People confuse the message with the messenger. This isolates him, makes him a target for rejection, and turns an extraordinary gift into a source of pain. Antonio, the youngest in the family, can communicate with animals. It's a charming ability that can help avoid danger by calming wild creatures or asking them for help. It's also practically useful. Animals can assist with simple everyday tasks. But the scope of this power is limited. They can't replace human labor, cure illnesses, or handle major emergencies. It's a sweet and special gift, but far from essential to the community's survival. Isabella can grow plants. At first, she only used her gift decoratively, creating beautiful flowers. But once she broke free from expectations, she discovered she could grow all kinds of plants, including ones that bear fruit or have medicinal properties. The potential is huge. She can feed people, heal, provide shade, and even raw materials. Still, by the end of the story, this power feels more full of promise than actual practical impact. It's a gift that could become incredibly valuable, but it hasn't reached its full potential yet. Luisa is the physical powerhouse of the family. She can move entire buildings, rebuild roads, and carry things no one else could even dream of lifting. She's one of the most essential members when it comes to the village's daily functioning, always stepping up to handle whatever heavy lifting needs to be done. But even strength has its limits. Luisa is still human. She feels pain, she can get hurt, and she struggles under the pressure of always having to be the solution. Her gift is impressive and practical, but it demands a lot and definitely isn't foolproof. And then we get to Julieta. Her gift is straightforward and irreplaceable. She heals. Injuries, illnesses, pain, from minor scrapes to serious conditions, can be treated with the food she cooks. It's a reliable, steady, and quiet power. It doesn't depend on mood, it doesn't push people away, and it doesn't come with an emotional burden. On the contrary, it comforts and brings people closer. Everyone in the village knows they can count on her whenever there's a health issue. When you compare all the gifts, it becomes pretty clear why healing is the most essential one. Luisa's strength is no good if she gets sick. Bruno's visions don't help if no one's physically able to act on them. Peppa's weather might help the crops, but it's useless in the face of an epidemic. Isabella's plants feed people, but they can't replace immediate medical treatment. Antonio's animals can assist, but they're not saving lives in a crisis. Dolores might hear a problem coming, but she can't fix it. And Camillo's shapeshifting, while entertaining, doesn't have any real-world impact. At the end of the day, Julieta's power is the only one that guarantees something absolutely fundamental for any society: preserving life. Julieta is the foundation of the village's survival. Without her, a simple cut could become fatal. Everyday illnesses could spread fast. Even the most dazzling gifts in the family would lose their power, because no gift can do much when the body is weak. More than just healing, Julieta's gift seems to have an even deeper effect. It preserves the vitality of the Madrigal family. Hang on, let me explain. We all know aging comes from a bunch of physical and mental changes over time, and things like stress, bad eating habits, pollution, and genetics only speed that up. Wrinkles, gray hair, and fatigue are the most obvious signs. But what if the body was getting a daily reset? A kind of internal maintenance, like the constant healing that Julieta's cooking provides? The natural wear and tear would be way less intense. In the movie, Casita's portraits show the exact moments when each Madrigal received their gift. That gives us a sense of how much time has passed. Isabella, for example, was 5 when she got her gift. She's now 21, so 16 years have gone by. In that time, Abuela, who was already elderly, has barely changed. She's around 70 but shows almost no new wrinkles and still looks the same. That doesn't seem natural, unless there's an explanation: daily contact with Julieta's food. Meanwhile, Mariano's mom, who actually looks younger, already has visible gray hair. The difference might come down to one thing: frequency. She probably only eats Julieta's dishes every now and then, while Abuela is having them every single day. The same goes for the triplets. They're 50 years old. And yet, Pepa looks way younger than expected. Smooth skin, no obvious signs of aging, and barely any gray hair. Bruno, in flashbacks from 10 years ago, already looked the same as he does now, aside from a few gray strands and a more tired expression. But it's worth noting, he was hiding near the kitchen the whole time. So odds are, he was still eating Julieta's food regularly. Julieta herself might seem a bit older, but that's more about her overall look, tied-up hair, simpler clothes, than any real physical signs. She and Bruno are the only ones who visibly have gray hair, while Pepa's barely shows, maybe thanks to her lighter hair color. Here's the interesting part. If all the Madrigals truly looked their age, we'd see much clearer signs of aging. But we don't. The most reasonable theory is that Julieta's food doesn't just heal, it keeps their bodies in constant balance. It corrects deficiencies, repairs wear and tear, and even fixes tiny invisible damage. Like a daily, silent, fine-tuned reset. That's not to say the family doesn't age, but the process is clearly way slower. Dying from illness in this family seems almost impossible, and old age probably sneaks in much more gently than it does for everyone else in the village. Now here's the big question. What if the entire village had access to Julieta's food every day? Would everyone live way longer? Maybe the secret to longevity in Encanto is right there, hiding in plain sight, in the meals Julieta puts on the table. Of course, we're talking about the Encanto universe here, focused on village life. If we start comparing it to the X-Men, Marvel, or DC universes, well, that's a whole different level, right?